What's up, everybody? Clint Fauché here, and
I'm Albert Chavez.
And this is Front Porch Chronicles. And today, we have a special guy on today, Adam TheBomb Piccolotti. Guys, thank you. Thank you. He's got a fight coming up this week. We just talked about the weight cut. Thank you for popping on with us. We appreciate it. You know, it's going to be a tough week.
Hell yeah. Thanks, boys. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. We actually saw, it was funny. I kind of had seen some stuff of you pop on and I was like, hey, we kind of need to get this guy on here. And then we saw you with Shorty and Augie, who we had on. And so we were like, definitely, we got to reach out. So we reached out and luckily we got you on. So we'll hop right into it.
You're a NorCal boy. I'm actually from Sacramento area. So you're from what's it called? The
Half Moon
Bay Area? Yeah, Half Moon Bay, right? Yeah. So how was it growing up in the Bay Area out there? It's a little different.
Half Moon Bay is a special place, bro. It's like, I always say it's a mixture of farmers and surfers. It's a cool small town right on the coast. So, you know, I always grew up on the beach, grew up skateboarding, surfing, wrestling, and man, like super blessed, super grateful. It's an amazing area.
No doubt.
Yeah, dude. Going up so we're down here in Orange County now. And so the biggest transition that I had to face growing up is just like everything's way quicker down here. So I'm sure you probably feel like going into Vegas is like everything. There's always something to do compared to like Half Moon Bay. You just kind of chill or whatever. So growing up there, did you always know that you wanted to be a fighter growing up, or did you kind of stick more towards surfing?
No, yeah, it was fighting for me like turned out to be real organic. Like my dad was a wrestler. I have a big athletic family on the Piccolotti side, a bunch of football players, wrestlers and shit. So I was always just athletic. And honestly, when I finished my senior season of wrestling, I was like, what the hell am I going to do? Go wrestle JUCO, go to college and wrestle maybe. But I already knew at that point, there's no money in it. It would be just for fun. But then I found jiu-jitsu and I was like, oh, this shit's sick. I'll just compete in this while, you know, I get ready to go to college. Or then literally within like that first summer, I was like, oh, I want to do this all the time. And then led me into, I competed in the Pan Ams, won like 3 matches after like a week of training. Then it just kind of led me into some striking. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And like, I liked watching the UFC. I always watched all the wrestlers. Like Matt Hughes was like my first inspiration. Right. But yeah, it just kind of all happened organically. Cause you know, I've always been a wrestler, but I wouldn't necessarily say I was like a fighter growing up. I was more of like just an athlete and a competitor. So like, that's what kind of led me into it. I was like, oh shit, I can compete in this. It's not necessarily like, oh, I just want to get paid to fight somebody. It's like, I want to be better than all these people at all this stuff. And then, you know, jiu-jitsu and striking, I just thought it was so damn cool. So yeah, just super organic for me. But I spent a lot of my time as a kid in Half Moon Bay on the mats wrestling. I took it real serious as a high schooler.
How young did you start wrestling?
6th grade.
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn.
Sweet. Yeah.
So you had to get used to the weight cut real early then, all in high school.
Yeah. I'd been cutting weight since I was a freshman pretty much, you know. And in middle school, they luckily don't really let you. I think that would be horrible for you. But yeah, I started cutting weight once I got into high school.
Yeah. So, okay. So as I mentioned before, I've got 5 kids. So I can only imagine juggling the schedule. I'm not on the level of a fighter, and it's crazy because people don't really know as a fighter. People have this perception of, or this thought process of, oh, they just go in the gym and punch people for like 30, 45 minutes, an hour, and then they get out of there. They don't know, like, you know, like I told you, Arday is a good friend of mine. There's probably a couple of hours of striking training. Go home and try to get some food in real quick and some hydration so that you can go to grappling practice. So let me ask you, I know you've got a young son. How does that affect, like, is he in the gym with you? I know you said you kind of grew up. Like, how do you map all of that as a father?
Yeah, scheduling is probably the hardest part. Especially as much as I love Half Moon Bay, there's no real MMA training. Half Moon Bay is where my jiu-jitsu coach Raul Castillo is. So like I've always been there for that. But in terms of getting the hard training, like I got to drive an hour to Dublin to go to Combat Sports Academy. I got to drive an hour to go to AKA to train over there, you know? So man, it's tough, you know, especially during these camps. Like I wake up, I get like an hour with him. I drive down to San Jose. I train hard. I spar, whatever. I drive back home. I get like another couple hours with him, and then I got to drive out to CSA. I get all my striking in. I train with Kieran Fitzgibbons and all the guys over there. Then, you know, I teach the jiu-jitsu program over there now too. So, I mean, honestly, bro, it's really hard during fight camps. But thankfully, and, you know, luckily I have an amazing wife, and she's just like she's a superstar. She really is. And she holds it down at home and takes care of little man. And, I still get as much time as possible. Like any day I have off, I'm like, let's go to the zoo. Let's go to the, you know, Academy of Sciences. Let's go to the beach. That's, you know what I mean? Like I'm doing as much as I can with him at all times. But yeah, dude, it's tough. It's tough scheduling everything out and making time for everything. Cause like you said, MMA is one sport, right? But yeah, there's striking, there's grappling, there's wrestling, and every gym has its own schedule where it's like you got to make a schedule that fits around that so you can get everything in. It's a little brutal on the scheduling sometimes, but you know what I mean? Like it damn near beats an accounting job or some shit like that.
Yeah. Sitting at, yeah, definitely that.
Yeah. I could never be a regular 9 to 5 or so. You know, I'm super blessed, man. I'm very lucky. Very happy with, you know, the way I've kind of set my life up, and I'm just loving the journey.
When did you know that you wanted to actually go pro? Because it seems like you always had wrestling in the back of your mind, right?
Yeah. Like I said, it was kind of organic. Like after I started training jiu-jitsu for a little while, my coach Raul took me to a pancrase fight. I don't know if you guys probably remember those. It was where there were headshots. You could only punch and kick in the body and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like the amateur before even like the amateur leagues existed. And I had like 1 or 2 of those, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then literally like, you know, fate or whatever, like shortly after I had those, the Camo California Amateur MMA started up, and I got a couple of those, and I was like, fuck, let's keep going, man. Let's see what we can do with this stuff. It's pretty fun. I love choking people out and stuff. So let's go.
You could do it legally.
So let me ask you this, going back, who is the fighter growing up? And it's always funny to me to see each guy has different people that they looked up to. Who was the fighter when you were younger, when you first started watching the UFC or whatever? Who was the guy you were like, okay, this is the dude I want to be like?
Yeah, when I like very, very beginnings was Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes was that player. And also I had the I think it was EA Sports video game. And so I would always want to just be the wrestler to take everybody down and ground and pound them and stuff like that. And Matt Hughes was my guy.
I was the exact same.
Yeah, man, he was the man, bro. He was a fucking tank. He would take everyone down and smash them. Like Matt Hughes was the guy. Shortly after Matt Hughes was GSP, though. You know what I mean? Those two are my kind of like OG goats right there.
That's two very good OG goats to have. So looking back, if you could go back to your younger self when you first started fighting, what would you give the advice to your younger self? What would you change going back? Because you've got a pretty solid career now. You're not a newcomer. You're a vet in this game and established yourself. What would you change, if anything?
Man, it's such a hard question because, you know, like you said, I like where I'm at. I like everything. I would say I had some hiccups with management, so I wish I had a little bit more guidance in that aspect. You know, there's some kind of like dirt behind the scenes in that field, but kind of more surface level. I wish I found CSA sooner and Coach Kieran Fitzgibbons. My first, you know, probably 10 fights was just me circling the outside and shooting. You know what I mean?
Right. Just putting your name out there no matter what.
I did not want to strike, but I definitely just wanted to get the takedown every time. So I almost wish that I got to develop my striking in those early matches with like the lesser competition, rather than having to kind of like develop it afterwards against the tougher competition, right? So I would say that probably would be the biggest thing. But it's like I said, it's hard to say though, because if I was doing that, then I wouldn't be doing as much jiu-jitsu at the time. So I'm super happy with
I think the biggest thing is the same thing. You said the same thing that Augie said, that every guy, and this led to I started a management company probably 3-4 months ago. And one of the things that I noticed is from all of these fighters is from a management side of it. A lot of times people are so loyal to people because they don't know that they're taking advantage of them. And a lot of managers, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I had one guy, a guy basically came to me and said, "Hey, my manager didn't even know that I was fighting this week." Like you see what I'm saying? And so like, I felt it when you said there's so much dirt behind the scenes because they use these guys as cattle. And one of the things with my business partner, we signed RDA, was our first guy that we signed, and we signed a couple of other guys. And the first thing that I said is, I don't want a large roster of guys. I want guys that I can pour more than just financial into them, but brotherhood and friendship and all of those things, that so that I look out for them on a deeper level, more than just fighting. If they got problems with, anything that pops up in their life, again, as fighters, people think that you're just this fighter and that you don't have kids, you don't have families, like you don't have financial problems, you don't have, stress in your life, all of these things. And that was one of the things kind of I wanted to pour back into, because it sucks because there's a lot of guys out there that do take advantage. So
even if it's not like directly taking advantage, like where they're stealing money out your account or something like that, literally just the fact that they're taking anywhere from 10 to 20% of your purse, and it's like, whoa, what are you giving me in return? Right. A lot of times you don't need your management for necessary like matchmaking or anything. Like, it doesn't even matter, especially in the early stages of your career. So it's like, so I'm paying you 15% for you to make a phone call that, me or my coach could make.
And half of the time they do not make that phone call. They sit back and they wait for the promotions to reach out to them. And then they try to get guys to take short notice fights that aren't necessarily beneficial for them because they need money or they need something. So it sucks, but
it does suck. So it's crazy.
So is that what you use, like the combat sports or AKA to kind of use when you're early in your careers? Hopefully find a gym that they know the game a little bit more, so they could help you, like help facilitate your name out there more. Is that something that you would recommend for someone that's an early fighter?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do drive a lot, but I'm blessed to at least live at a place where I can drive to two of the best gyms in the world. Right. And, like Kieran Fitzgibbons, that guy is just salt of the earth. Like even since the first time I started training with him, he was already on the phone with Scott Coker when I was with Bellator, and he was on the phone with all these guys, like on top of my management. Like, even though my management is calling them and stuff like that, he's still doing it. He will never take a dime from any of the fighters. So like, it's easy to say, but find yourself someone like that, like somebody that's really going to be looking out for you and have your best interests at heart. Even stay with my coach, Raul Castillo, man. Like, he's always been looking out and being like, well, I don't like this fight, I like that fight. But somebody that can give you that guidance, because perspective is everything and experience is everything. So when you're young and up and coming, it's like, oh, I need a management firm because that'll make me, legitimate, or that'll make me, go to the UFC. Well, it's like, man, first you got to win these fights. And then, and even before that, you got to get these fights. And even before that, you got to make sure your training is all on proper, right? So having that good base of a good gym is amazing. It's everything.
Crucial, yeah. And speaking of that, training at AKA, you got Khabib, Islam, DC, Cain Velasquez, Luke Rockhold, Umar. It's loaded. So like, I think you hit the nail on the head. Besides just the guidance, it's learning from those guys and seeing how they operate day to day, as well as being able to train with them. That makes a massive difference. So how is that for you? Has it been mind blowing for you training with those guys?
I've been training with those guys forever at this point. Like, I was giving Khabib rounds, before he was Khabib, Islam before he was Islam. And I've always tried to pick the brains of the guys that I know are doing the right things, especially like business wise. Like DC DC is one of the smartest dudes you're ever going to talk to. Like it's just, yeah, it's something else. So, Josh Thompson was always a huge inspiration to me. And you know what I mean? Like he's a punk, and like we used to battle back in the day when I was a kid, and he used to talk shit and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I could always pick his brain. Hey, what do you think about this fight? Hey, what do you think about this promotion? This. Having that is, like I said before, it's perspective. Like these guys already have that experience perspective on all this stuff. They've already been through a lot of the things that you're about to go through. So having some sort of you could say mentor, or even just some guy to kind of look up to a little bit. It's paramount for the way that you know kind of conduct your next few years, because MMA is such a short-lived career. It's such a short-lived lifestyle for the actual competition element of it, that you got to make every year count. You got to make every fight count. You got to make everything count, because before you know it, you're 30, you're 35, and you know what I mean? Like time's running out. You can't compete until you're 50. You can't do all that. So you got to really have some good information to pull from, and some good people to guide you in the right direction. And I think that's super key and really, really important.
Yeah, you touched on something really important too, the mental game of that too. So you probably, was it nice having some of those legends out there on the mat with you to kind of break it down, like, hey, yeah, you're in here working, but what's the bigger picture?
Yeah, totally. In both aspects, right? In the business aspect, but also in the fighting aspect. Like I always say this all the time, like Khabib and Islam, like, especially those Dagestani guys, they got a different type of like mental fortitude where I think Khabib's best aspect of his whole MMA game wasn't necessarily his wrestling, his grappling. It's his mind. The fact that he could show up for every fight and perform every single night that he was out there was the most impressive thing to me about Khabib. And that's something that I try to, pick up from him as much as possible. I've had off nights, and that's where my losses come from. I feel honestly that every loss that I have on my record is a mistake. It's a fluke. It's something that shouldn't have happened. But at the same time, I've learned from those, and I've really put those into perspective on how to show up and be your best self on that night. And I think even just seeing those guys show up and perform is amazing, because you train alongside them. You see them in the gym. They're not just these urban myths. It's like, oh, we're doing the same stuff. We're literally doing the same training. I'm doing good. I see that you're doing good. I just need to show up and do it like you do it.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So we know you got a big fight coming up this week with JJ Wilson there in Vegas. How's training camp been? How's everything going?
I think it's been probably my best training camp, and that's easy to say. People say that all the time, but right. With my son being a year and a half now, it's been like a whole nother level of motivation for me, and a sense of drive. Even though I'm a competitive natured person, just having that little man at home is like, dude, I got to go make this milli. I got to go make this money. And so, like literally just having that motivation, like I've been training my ass off, man. Like I said, between AKA, Raul Castillo, and CSA, it's been great, man. It's been solid.
Yeah, being a dad definitely makes you happy.
Are they going to the fight with you?
No, I'm leaving them home because
yeah.
I mean, it's such a shit show out here with UFC 300. Fight week is something, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, as much as I want to see them, like I FaceTime them all the time, but it's not like we can hang out and do fun shit, really. And then we fly home the next day pretty much. So I'm like, how about this? Just stay home and we'll go to Hawaii or something next week. So that's the plan.
Fun.
That'd
be relaxing.
That's always smart. When people bring family along, especially for that whole week, I'm like, man, because I know what it is, trying to do the weight cut and it's stressful enough as it is. Like we talked about earlier, the weight cut is the most stressful part of it, and having to deal with other things as you're there, it just complicates things. So
yeah, I feel like people don't realize like oh, good.
I was just gonna say, like, as you know how it is as a dad, or as a husband, even it's like, even if you want to be, kind of let them be on their own, like I'm always gonna be looking out for them. And right now, like, it's not the time for that. Right now, it's the time for me to focus on my weight and drinking the water and this and this and this and this. And even if they were there, like, and my wife would tell me, no, it's all good. Like, we're good. I'm still gonna worry about you guys. You know what I mean?
All the
them
time.
being home, and my mom's close by, so like I know she's got coverage over there too. Like that's way more reassuring to me than having them here and have me kind of not stressing off him, but always kind of stressing off him. Just trying to help always.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're a good human. Everyone wants to make sure that their kid, especially of a 1.5-year-old, like you want to make sure he's doing all right too. And then with the chaos of all of UFC 300 that's in Vegas, it gets
Yeah,
overwhelming too. It's like you
it'd be
can
a
only
lot
do so
easier.
much.
It'd be a lot
Yeah.
easier.
So let me ask you this. Do you have any rituals that you do the week of or leading up to a fight?
Not too much, nothing too specific. I followed Muhammad Ali, no sex for 2 weeks. Besides that, we say our
Is that
prayers.
or the weight cut harder?
What's that?
Which was more difficult? Which is more difficult, the weight cut or the Muhammad Ali way?
It can be a toss-up. It can be a toss-up.
That definitely is a toss-up.
Yeah.
Stylistically, leading into this matchup, how do you think you guys match up stylistically?
It's fun,
I
man.
kind of know, but what do you think?
I think, like I said, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, and I like that. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy too. So, sometimes when that happens, they cancel each other out and it turns into a striking match. And I'm now a striker too. So I honestly feel that I'm going to have a strong advantage on the feet. Probably make him want to resort back to the jiu-jitsu. I might even engage jiu-jitsu. I don't know. We'll see. He's pretty good, well-rounded guy. I'm excited, man.
He is, but I'll just tell you, and this is no cap, I'm brutally honest. So if I did think you were going to lose, I would unfortunately tell you. I think that you, grappling wise, have the strength. I definitely do think your advancement with your striking over your last couple of fights and leading up to, I like the advancement. I see it just because I'm a student of the game. So I think it's going to be a bad day for him. That's just my pick. So
hell yeah.
yeah. Hey, look, he's like, I'm down with that. So
that's a good pick.
yeah. I look, money on you. No pressure. So, all right. So we know you got a lot going on. We want to keep it short and sweet. So we've got one final question that we kind of ask. It's kind of a ritual with us, kind of deep. So you might need to take a second to think about it if you do. If today was your last day, what was it or is it that you would want people to remember Adam for?
That is pretty deep. Man, it's kind of two-part because, I mean, since August of last year, it's like I would want people to remember me as a good dad. That's really like, there's so many cliches about having kids and stuff like that, but they're cliches for a reason and they're all fucking true. Like, all I want to do is provide for this little man and to give him the best life possible and to show him the way and to be a good leader for him. And I would say that would be kind of what led me into like my secondary thought is just to be a good role model, to be a good leader, to be somebody that everybody can follow. I want to be a good representation of the human race, right? I love people. I love the earth. I love being, you know what I mean? I love being alive. And I think that with so much negativity in the world and just so much bullshit and people stressing off of politics and war and money and this and this and this, it's just about enjoying the simple things, because our lifetime, man, it's a blip on the radar. And I just want to be I want to be remembered for leading people through this life and showing them how to enjoy it and how to really experience it in all of everything that it is.
That's what's really hard too, is I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves too just to exist, and they don't realize how short that we have. And so it's really powerful to me to hear, like, even the short time that you've been a father, there's been a shift that's been happening within your mind to say, hey, this isn't just about me anymore. Like, yes, your legacy is one thing, but when you're bringing it into your family dynamic, there's just something bigger than us. And that's something I think is disconnected right now with the world. And so it's really powerful for you to hear and share that with everyone. So thank you.
Yeah, and it's always funny. We always like to finalize that. One of the biggest thing is, like I said before, people have these perceptions of these fighters, and they think that when we ask this question, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, I just want to Hulk smash people," and it's like to hear the kindness, the generousness, and the caring, loving heart. That's the bigger thing that we need in this world. Is people that have that mindset and have those thought processes. And yeah, they can go out and wreck people in the octagon. But at the end of the day, they're not going in there to wreck people, to hurt people. They're going in there to provide for their family and be leaders in our communities and pass down examples for, our children to be and do better. And that's the minds and the people that we need to have more of. So I know for me, I appreciate it. And definitely taking the time out of your day to come on here. We appreciate it. Know you're getting ready for a weight cut tomorrow. We'll be sending prayers to you. If you need anything from us, let us know. Next time we're up in the Bay, we travel up there pretty frequently.
Right.
We do real estate as well. So we do projects up there. We'll hit you up and let you know. We'd love to meet you, hang out, and get to know your family. And, anything we can do for you guys, we're here for.
Hell yeah, boys. That'd be great. Let me know. Take you all around. We'll go check out Mavericks and go to the gym and all the good stuff.
Cool. Awesome, brother. I appreciate it. You have a good rest of your day. We are signing off, and we'll talk to you soon, Adam. And everybody, if you are tuning in this week, make sure you select Adam TheBomb Piccolotti. Money deal.
Let's go.
Take it easy, brother. Appreciate you.
Boys.